Afternoon, folks. I'm Dave Canterbury with Reliance Outfitters in the Pathfinder School. And what I want to do today is I want to start a new series. And this is kind of a spin-off series on a couple of other things that I've done, okay? We talked about the new adventure series where we had one out and we metal detected an area that was supposed to be a 1920s motor camping area to verify that the area was that old. People had camped there, and we spent the overnight there and did all that kind of stuff. And that video is very popular. We're going to do more of that, okay? I also had a video series called The Journal of the Yurt, and I did a video in that series called Stock and Trade, where I had actually went to a trade show and picked things up and discussed those things when I came back. And it's one of my most popular videos in that series, which is one of the most popular series I ever did. And I do a lot of picking, if you will, from estate sales to antique malls to shows of different types, antique shows, large antique shows at fairgrounds, things like that, as well as just old-time tool shows and things like that that I go to. And I do that for lots and lots of reasons. And I thought maybe there's a video series in that. I've talked to a lot of people. I've had people request to see kind of the things that I pick and how I pick them and why, and maybe a little bit of the history behind those items. So I thought maybe I'd start a series kind of focused on that. And I'm not sure what I'm going to call it yet, so I'm not going to name it right now in this intro. But I've gone out the last day and a half with my wife, and we've gone out picking. Now, I do that quite often because I have an Etsy store. Obviously, Vintage Camp and Trail is the name of my Etsy store, and I'll put a link in the description box of this video. And I sell vintage camping gear as well as vintage tools, self-reliance items, things like that in that store. But I also do a lot of trade with people on places like the Pathfinder Trade Blanket, on places like the Bannerman Camp, where I sell things sometimes as well on Facebook. And so if people that are looking for things sometimes call me and say, hey, I'm looking for one of these, if you can find one or you've got one, because I find a lot of stuff. I'm kind of the guy who can kind of smell this stuff in an antique mall, laying in a corner somewhere all dusty. And I've got a really good example of that laying right here, something I probably passed up 6 times in the same place and found it today dusty and dirty in a corner that I'd never seen before. But it's almost like metal detecting. Things are never picked out, just like they're never detected out. You can always find something new going back, even if you go back a day or two later or a week later that you may have missed. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to kind of talk to you about, first of all, why do I do this? Why do I go out and pick this stuff, right? And like I said, I do it for several reasons. Number one, I do some period reenacting from 1930s time frame, Depression era. We've talked about in the past. We did a squirrel camp out here this year with Nathan Lodgen, Sarge Vining, James Bender, and some other guys. We had a big period squirrel camp out here. So I'm always buying items for myself for that reliving of history in that Depression era time frame to make sure that all the accoutrements I'm using fit that period of time. So I'm replicating what they would have done and reliving what they would have used. I also do it because I sell things from that period to other people who do that type of living history as well. And then, you know, my favorite time period really, as far as retro camping goes, and I've kind of always done this in my videos if you've watched them for very long, is to mix old stuff and traditional stuff with new stuff. And I like that stuff from the 50s, 60s, 70s time frame because that's the kind of stuff I grew up with. So it's very nostalgic to me. So I pick a lot of that stuff if it's still in good condition because I still use it to this day sometimes. Again, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? And it gives me ideas sometimes as well for things that I can recreate and bring them back and make them new again with more modern materials and maybe some type of a spin on a kit. So with all of that talking head stuff out of the way for a minute, I'm gonna put some footage in here of me walking through these places yesterday and kind of looking and talking and looking and talking. It's about 15 minutes worth of footage. And then on the end of the video, I'm gonna tack on what did I buy and why did I buy it, as well as what did I pay for it and what I think it's actually worth if I were to resell it, because some of this stuff will go to my Etsy page. Now, I did not collectively bring everything out here today to shoot this video that I bought, because I bought a lot more than this. I bought select pieces out here, about 10 different pieces, just to kind of show you my mindset when it comes to picking and why I pull these items for myself or for trade or for resale. So with that said, stay with me. Let's get started at an antique mall here in Ohio. Pretty rare. I've never seen a Boy Scout canteen before. Pretty cool. Just a military style canteen, but it's actually got a BSA cover on it. I'd say that's a pretty rare item. I've never seen one before. Those old level line fishing reels here. Pretty good price on them. 12 to 20 bucks, depending on the reel. Might have to have a look in here and see if there's one we can't live without. A nice Dietz Vesta, but it's got the original glass in it. Font looks like it's good. In real good condition, but that's a high price for sure. It's about 75 bucks, be a good price for that lantern. Rubber lantern's pretty high priced in here for sure. Question about that. A lot of stuff in here. Nice old dash lantern up here. 150 bucks. Looks all original though. Got the original Dietz glass in it. And that's a beauty right there. Got the rear light in it, the lens in it. That's a beautiful lantern right there. 150 bucks, a little bit too rich for my blood. Fire lantern up here, there's a beauty right there, boy. Look at that thing. Firehouse lantern there. That's a beauty too, 325 bucks. Whew, man. Yep. Some of these prices are pretty steep, but we'll find something guaranteed for it's over with.
Jake, isn't this a rabbit that we know?
It's not a horrible price.
Maybe it's just imperial.
Right there.
That rabbit just looks familiar.
Let's do that. See what kind of glass we got here. See if we got the original Embry glass. I'm going to say that's not original glass there. It's not Embry. The glass, but the front and everything looks like it's in really good shape. That's a pretty nice lantern. I have to walk away with that one. This is an old Sterno camping stove here. It folds completely up and you put a can of Sterno inside of it there. You can see on the front. But it folded up into a pack. It's one of the original pack type stoves back in the day. And this was only 10 bucks, right? So got the original package front to it there. Pretty nice piece for $10. I actually have one already in my collection, so I don't need this one, but if I was looking for a 60s vintage pack stove, that'd be the one I'd grab. Okay, this is a really old cello steel canteen with a cork top. Metal clasps on it. Everything's in really, really good shape. You can't tell if it leaks, obviously, without putting liquid in it, but $29. We're definitely gonna have to have that. All right, so just a little outside the box thinking here. This is a gardening tool probably, but it's got a nice ferrule on it where you could put any size handle in that you want to. It's a fairly good size spade for digging cat holes or whatever. Also be a decent trapping shovel, something like that if you were digging pocket sets. But $3.95, be hard to find a shovel that heavy duty nowadays for that money, especially something so adaptable. All right, so for you vintage classic campers, here's a good one. It's got some kind of a fill inside of it. I imagine it's probably cotton fill. You can see it on the back side. You can see that. That's actually wool, I think. Looks like wool fill in that thing. And that is your mattress and your cover. You got a heavy duty cover on this thing right here. Look at this, guys. $20, all right? If you're a reenactor, you're doing something from the period and you want a good, warm sleeping bag that's in really, really good shape, This thing is killer. Killer. I don't see any labels on the thing anywhere. There's a close-up of the zipper. This is definitely vintage piece. 20s, 30s vintage for sure. And there's no moth holes in it that I can find anywhere. It's in really, really, really good condition. The bottom of the zipper looks good. It's got a little bit of repair that needs to be done right here at the end of the zipper. Piece of cake to repair that. Man, oh man, for 20 bucks, you can't beat it. I had quite a few fishing reels in here, old level lines, a couple old fly reels in here. I've got one very similar to those two in the back. I wouldn't mind buying another one at that price, 20 bucks a reel, pretty cheap. I got my eyes on this metal tackle box down here. I want to see what it looks like on the inside, see what the guts look like. So, waiting on the gentleman to come open the case. We'll see what we got. All right, here's a real nice original hunting jacket. Definitely got a nice period look to it. Somebody's got Coon Hunters written on the front of it. Unfortunately, it's about a size large. 125 bucks. But, beautiful jacket. Got corduroy on the shotgun side there. Pretty nice, pretty nice. All right, sometimes you just gotta get back into corners, these places. There's a few pieces of clothing hanging back here, and there's a piece laying back here that I recognize. This is, find the label on this dude. Pair of original Ducks backs. And look at that, man. Those things are all original. Unfortunately, they're about a 25 waist because they actually aren't a bad price either. But that's a reenactor's dream to find stuff like that in a place like this. Now, this is a Turner smelting furnace. It has the original label on the front of it. It's gas operated. There's your pump. Very much like a Coleman stove. It's got all the equipment with it to smelt with, including the pots, everything. Everything looks like it's in really good condition. This thing turns to get it off. It froze up right now. It needs to come over just a little bit more to come off of there, but that comes off. And this pump doesn't feel like it's got pressure. Looks like you probably need a little bit of rub going on there. But I have to say, what that is, man, there's your inlet for the fuel. That is a really cool piece right there, to be honest with you. With all the accoutrements to go with it. Very, very nice. All right, we're in a different mall here. You can see this thing here, $1,275, but that's a beautiful lantern, no doubt. Firehouse lanterns, look at that one. Columbus, Ohio markings on that dude. $425. That fire department engraving or raised letters on the front of it. Beautiful, beautiful lanterns. $1,100 for that Dietz right there. You're walking through these places, a lot of people know exactly what they have. You're looking for the people who don't know exactly what they have. There's $75 on that dash lantern. That's not a horrible price. It doesn't have the original glass. So you gotta think about that. This would be a lantern that went on like the buckboard of a wagon or on the front of a Model T or something like that. Old Model T. And anyway, that's not a bad price, but it doesn't have the original globe, and that greatly reduces the value of it. All right, here's some little railroad lanterns. Here's a Dietz Vesta with the original glass, $65. Got a little damage here where it's been bent, but it's really not in all that horrible of a condition compared to the last place we were at. I had one for $70 there. An old railroad lantern. It's in really good shape. Again, I doubt that's original glass, but $70 is a good price. $65 for that one. That one's got a bent hood on it though. There's a real nice Dietz right here. $135 on that one. It's a little more rare, and it's in really, really good shape. Lots and lots of good stuff in these places. You just have to know what you're looking for. There's a complete blacksmithing setup. There's a leg vise right there. Swedge block right there, hammers, tools. A stump right there that may have had an anvil on it at one time that somebody bought. Lots of cast iron in here and things like that as well. The nice Dietz, looks like it's got the original font. $55, that's a lot more palatable. And it's in pretty good condition, looks like. There's another one right beside the hill. Reading Railroad, $65. Looks like it's in real good shape too. This is almost a can't pass it up price right here. And it looks like it's got the original New York embossed glass on it too.
That's just all I deal with it yet.
I know.
All right, so a bunch of front locks and muzzle-loading shotguns and things here. I want to show you this one right here. This is a Belgian shotgun, and it is a Indian Police 1859 USA. Very, very cool historical piece there. $1,250 for that bad boy. And it says that the barrels are 2 different calibers, 710 7.3 bore, so around 12 gauge. There's a beautiful piece right here, all wool, Mackinac hunting outfit, pants and jacket, really nice condition. So Wool Mills plaid hunting suit, $168. Doesn't really say what size it is though, anywhere. But I assume from looking at the jacket, it's fairly small, probably a medium. Right, here's some sinker molds right here. I always keep my eyes out for these. This is only $11. Sinkers like this. Right, talk about self-reliance fishing. You know, melt down wheel weights, make your own sinkers. $11, that's a very good price for that. A couple more of them sitting here as well we're gonna look at. Now, sometimes the booths that look like they might not be much of what you want are worth looking at. There's a skillet we're gonna look at right there. It's a never break, and there's one of those racks I've used before a couple times with the handle on it, the safety grader rack. We'll see what that looks like. Right here, I got a sinker mold, $10, and it's barrel sinkers. I don't have one of those, so we do now. Okay, so I thought now that we had that out of the way, I would show you a few of the items I bought, why I bought them, some of the history behind them maybe, what I paid for them, what I think their usefulness is today, and maybe what I would think they're worth if I were going to resell them, okay? Because I usually don't buy things unless I can resell it, unless it's something I really want for myself, and then I might pay up for it if I have to, okay? You saw a lot of lanterns in that video yesterday, all right? This Drussel railroad lantern right here is in really good condition. It's got the original font. Everything is operable on it. Everything's in really, really good shape. And what I would do with these lanterns, just to kind of give you a quick lesson on lanterns, okay? So when I come across one of these, the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open this bad boy up. And I'm gonna look at the glass. I'm gonna say, is that original glass or is that replacement glass, okay? This one is probably replacement glass, but it could be original. It's got a seam in it, but it doesn't have any embossing on it or any raised letters. So it could be replacement glass. That drops the value a little bit, and I'd never pay the $100 and some that most people want for railroad lanterns if it didn't have embossed or raised letter glass in it of some kind from an actual railroad, okay? But the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull the font out of this lantern, just like this. And I wanna make sure, I'll lay this down for a second. I wanna make sure that number one, the wick is operable. I want to make sure that this is all in good shape. There's no holes, it's not rusted through. And then I'm going to pull it out and I'm going to look at it and I'm going to see what the wick looks like and what everything looks like and see what the font looks like itself. And if all of that checks out and looks good, and there's no obvious damage to this lantern whatsoever, then I'm going to decide whether I want to pay what they want for it or not, okay? A lot of times you'll get damaged hoods on these things. The vent will be damaged. This one's in really good shape. This bail might be bent. This one's in really good shape. These bottom bars might get bent. This one's in really good shape, okay? So if all of that checks out, then I'm going to decide, okay, is it worth what they want for it? And again, like I said, most railroad lanterns go for somewhere in the $100 range, especially if they've got a railroad marking on them. Now this one does have WT company on it. I'm not sure what that stands for. This is a Dressel Arlington, New Jersey lamp. It's in really, really good shape. I could easily get 95 bucks out of that lamp if I want to sell it, and I paid 55 for it. Am I going to sell it? Probably not. But if I were going to resell it, I would ask $95 for it, and I would feel confident in getting that price for it. Okay, so again, back to some of the reasons I pick things I pick. Let's talk about this, okay? This is a Champion vise, and it's the kind of vise that's used for woodworking. It's got 2 screw holes in each side where you could put a small slab of wood in there, and you could lock them in between here and use this as a woodworking vise. But what I like about it is it's actually a corner vise. So now I can unscrew this, and if I have a wooden workstation, that's like a 2x4, 2x12 table, something like that on a tabletop, I can slide that right on the tabletop, lock it down, and I have a woodworking vise that I can use on any table, sawhorse, 2x4, 2x6, 2x8, 2x10, whatever it's made out of, even a shave horse that I've made myself out of 2x material, this will work on. So this is a very good self-reliance piece, a very good working piece for woodworking. It's also very, very nostalgic because it's an old one. It's, like I said, it's a Champion. This thing was probably made in the 40s, if I had to guess, maybe even before that. It was made in Geneva, Ohio, so it's a local piece. I really, really like that as well. But this is just a fantastic piece. I paid 30 bucks for it, but I'm not going to resell it, so I didn't care about that, right? If I wanted to resell it for $60, could I get it and double my money? I probably could. I could definitely get that in trade. But because it's a unique piece and I've never seen one before, I'm definitely going to keep it because I do a lot of woodworking anyway, green woodworking, and this is perfect for that. Okay, let's talk about one of these items that's a fairly small item. This is a 1918 U.S. engineering compass, okay? And the way it works is you can see through the compass and you can see the degree readings inside, but it locks when you shut the lid so the needle can't move. It's got a prism on it. This is a very unique compass. When you lift up this lid, you can see the sighting line inside there, okay? And this locks automatically when you push the lid down. It pushes it sideways to lock it. And now it's unlocked and free floating, all right? It has a bezel ring on it that moves, but the movement on it is 1 degree per click. It's very, very accurate, okay? This prism, you fold up this direction like this, and it has a sighting window here that you can see the sighting line through here when you're shooting an azimuth. But if you look through this peephole into the prism is shining down on this, on the scale itself, on the bezel, and as that card's moving around, you can actually read the azimuth and reverse azimuth at the same time through that peephole. This is a very unique and very special compass in my opinion. I collect compasses and I've never seen one of these in the wild before. I've seen them on eBay. I've seen them other places. They go from anywhere from, depending on the condition they're in, usually about 95 to 200 bucks, depending on the condition, okay? I paid up for this a little bit because I wanted it, because I was going to keep it for myself, and I paid 100 bucks for it. And I didn't mind that because I could hold it in my hand, I could see it, I could make sure everything worked on it, make sure everything was functional. It's got some beautiful markings on the outside here. Again, you've got an adjustable bezel screw here for how hard it is to turn this bezel ring. And again, it's 1 degree per click. It's got a locking bezel on it here, a locking ring on it here to lock that card on the inside. So when you close the lid, it not only covers the prism, but it also locks down on this and pushes this lock forward and locks the compass completely, okay? And it snaps down shut. That is a beautiful, beautiful piece. And it's marked right here, 1918, CE 1918, and it says engineering core right here, US, okay? Beautiful, beautiful piece for my collection, and something that's definitely to the period, 1918 for that Depression era sportsman's memorabilia or kit, all right? So it's perfect for me. I love it. I'm not planning on getting rid of it, so I didn't mind paying up for it a little bit, okay? And that's kind of the difference. Now, let's talk about another small piece, all right? This is a case sodbuster, probably in 1960s. It's carbon steel. It's got great walk and talk. You can hear it snap. It's got fantastic walk and talk. The scales are perfect on it. There's not a ding in them whatsoever. The blade is all there. It's not scuffed up or tore up. Very easy to put a razor sharp edge on that bad boy again. And I paid 22 bucks for this. That's easily resellable for $65 every day, all day. Anywhere from Etsy to eBay to any trade blanket you want to go to, you can get 65 bucks for that all day long, especially being carbon steel and being a full-size sodbuster, 22 bucks, okay? That's why I bought it. All right, we talked about this shovel in the video, right? I'm just gonna give you another look at it real quick here. Again, this is not something I bought that I'm going to resell. It's not something I bought because it fits a certain period. It's something I bought because it's a convenient camp item that can very easily be put into a backpack and not weigh very much, but it's a very sturdy piece of kit. And what I'll do is I'll drill it through here so that it can be pinned with an eye bolt to a handle or taken off, just like a frog gig, okay? And that's how I'll carry it. But it's perfect for that. And at $3.95, I think it was, if I remember right, you cannot beat that. You'll never find a shovel like that today for $3.95 in that heavy duty condition and that heavy, okay? You just won't. All right. Back to a couple of something else here. This is kind of special right here, okay? This is a Boyko steel. This is not plastic. This is a steel, solid steel canteen, all right? Probably made in the 40s, somewhere in that neighborhood, late 30s to the 50s probably. Blanket covered, solid steel, original strap. The strap is in perfect condition. All the buckles are still there. It hasn't been repaired. It's in really good shape. There's no rust on the frame of the canteen. This thing is in really, really great shape. These things go for up to 200 bucks, depending on the cover. You get one of these that says US Forest Service on it, it's guaranteed 200 bucks. One like this, anywhere from 100 to 175, depending on who's buying it. You can get that for it easy enough in this condition. I paid 20 bucks, $20 for this, okay? But even though I got it so cheap and I could make a lot of money on it if I wanted to sell it, it's probably the best example of a steel canteen that I have in my personal collection. So I may keep this and upcycle and sell something that I have. And that's another reason for picking, right? To upgrade or upcycle your personal collection, okay? So I may keep that. Here's a couple fly reels I bought, okay? This is an unbranded fly reel. Just a really nice small fly reel. You could keep this thing in a backpack. Easy enough. I mean, it's very, very small. It's got both freewheel mode on it and clicker mode on it, just like any other fly reel does. And again, it's unbranded, but it was under 20 bucks. I think it was like 15 bucks for this one. And I paid 20 bucks for this one. This one is a Fluger. All right, this one is a Fluger. And it's called the, I think it says Saldash Trout, so I assume that means salmon and trout. Very, very nice reel. Again, it's got the same thing on it. It's got a freewheeling mode on it, and it has a clicker mode on it. This is a stiffer piece, and that may be because it needs to be oiled a little bit, so I'm going to work on that. But again, you know, the price on this, I think I paid exactly 20 bucks for this one, which to me is a really good price for an old open frame fly reel like that from the period. Okay, this thing's probably 50s, 60s, maybe. If I had to guess, I'd say this one's earlier than that, all right? Not quite early enough maybe to be into the 30s, but I think it might be. Even though it's unbranded, I would say from the construction of it, it probably is. And the handles and things like that on it, I'd say this one probably is from the 30s period to maybe early 40s. This one a little bit later. But again, these things are easy to turn over and double your money on, but they're also very convenient just to have around to give you a spare reel or a nice lightweight reel you can carry in a backpack. All right, I've got 2 or 3 like this now. I'll probably put a couple of those on my Etsy store. I might put this one on my Etsy store. I'm not sure yet, okay? This is that tackle box we talked about. It was 10 bucks, right? 10 bucks, and it had some lures in it. I don't know what they are, just some MEPs and things like that in there. There's a leader in there, there's some line in there. There's some swivels in here that were 25 cents at Eckerd drugstore when they were bought. So you got a little box of, you know, old time swivels in there and 3 or 4 lures that you can see. But again, you got a metal tackle box here. That's all metal on the inside. All the framing is metal on the inside. It's got a nice shutting lid on it. There's no damage to it whatsoever. It's in perfect condition. And things like this, you can easily turn over for double 10 bucks. No problem at all, especially with tackle in them already. But it's such a great backpacking box. I may end up keeping it just as a backpacking box, maybe even have a slip cover made for it from Tack Survival or something out of oilcloth and slide it into a slip cover and use that for camping and fishing. I don't know yet. Haven't decided, okay? This piece, okay, this is a pruning saw. This one is a Bartlett Manufacturing. It is a nice pruning saw. It's in really good shape. You can see the kerf in that dude. It's still there easily. When you look down that thing, you can see the kerf is still very prominent in that saw. And it came with a leather sheath, right, with a ring on it. Took it onto your belt. So basically it's a tree trimming saw. But again, for green woodworking and things like that, or ambiance around a camp, or even just because you like old tools, I paid 25 bucks for this, as is. I can put this on Etsy for 50 bucks and I'll sell it tomorrow. No problem, no questions asked. So I'm trying to pay for my gas and pay for some of the stuff I buy for myself. That's another reason that I do this kind of stuff, right? Because I'll probably sell this because I have another one. This will probably be on my Etsy site for 50 bucks, probably within the next week, okay? This tin cup right here, this is an actual tin cup, all right? You can see it's been tinned right here and things like that. It's a steel cup, it's been tinned. It's got a rolled rim on it, and it's angled. Usually when you find these old cowboy coffee cups, they're straight up and down. This one's angled. I'd never seen one like that before, and I got it for $6. Will I keep it or will I sell it? I don't know yet. If I was gonna sell it, I would just double my money and sell it for 12 probably or something like that. But you can easily get 20 out of something like this. No problem on Etsy. All right. Last thing I wanna show you. This is really cool, okay? This is a steel fishing rod. This is made out of metal, all right? This is very old. It's from like the 1920s. It's got a Shakespeare level 1 reel on it. It's got a clicker on it, and it's got a freewheel on it. Look at this. I mean, them bearings are perfect in that reel. Just perfect, okay? But this rod is a collapsible rod. Look at this. So you just pull these out, and it's a collapsible steel rod. You know, you think things like these collapsible rods are new inventions? They're not. I mean, this thing is a 4-section collapsible rod with a cork handle on it, and it's solid, it's metal, okay? That is an awesome piece of history right there. If you're into 1920s, 1930s stuff, and you want fishing kit, man, this thing right here is just the berries for sure. And again, you know, it just extends out just like any other extendable pole, except this thing's made out of metal, so it's not going anywhere. There's no question about that. You're not gonna break this because it's solid metal, okay? It's a little heavier because it's metal, but you know what? Again, if you're trying to do a period fishing impression and you want some fishing equipment around your camp and you're trying to do something that's 1930s or prior, this probably goes back into the early 1920s. So you'd be safe there as well, all the way into the 40s if you wanted to, but that's just a beautiful setup right there. I paid 35 bucks for this with the reel, okay? Reel's worth that by itself. So I basically got the rod for free. And I have no idea how much that rod's worth because I've never, ever seen one like it before. So I'd say to the right person, it's probably worth quite a bit. All right, guys, listen. I appreciate you joining me for this video today, and I hope it was enjoyable for you. It's definitely enjoyable for me to go out and do this stuff. It's kind of like, you know, the thrill of the hunt. It's almost like hunting in an urban environment instead of in the woods because you're hunting that thing that you've never seen before. You're hunting that thing you can get a great deal on. You're hunting that thing that you know other people are going to want. where you're hunting that thing that's something that you've been looking for a long time and haven't been able to find, or something that you've never seen before that just blows your mind, okay? And those are the reasons really that I love doing this kind of stuff. And I hope you like it too, because I plan to make a series on this. Again, I'm not sure what I'm gonna call it yet. We'll know when I post the video tonight, but we'll figure it out. I appreciate your views. I appreciate your support. I thank you for everything you do for our school, for our family, and for our business. For all our sponsors, instructors, affiliates, and friends. And I'll be back with another video as soon as I can, guys. Thanks.